Welcome to today's class. Today we're going to see the continuation of Strategic Management Unit 3. The first thing which we're going to see is mergers. So who's a merger? He's an agreement that unites two existing companies. For existing companies, he's an intermediator. Okay. So into the one company. So there are several types of mergers or also several reasons for a companies. Why companies complete mergers means the mergers and acquisitions are commonly done to expand companies research and expand into new segments. So this is the gain market share. So all of these are done to increase shareholders value. So often during the merger, companies have no shop clause to prevent the purchase or a mergers by additional companies. Okay, so then the types means we already seen in the before slide. Okay, so next one we're gonna see types of mergers. So the first one is conglomerate. So which means this is a merger between a two or more companies engaged in unrelated business activities. So the firms may operate different industries in different geographical region. So okay, this takes place between the organization in operating unrelated business activities which are actually trying to gain product or market extension through the mergers. Okay, the next one is congeneric, so which means it is also known as product extension mergers. So in this type it is a combining of two or more companies that operate in the same market sectors with overlapping factors, so such as technology, marketing, production processes and research development, R&D. Okay, so a product extension merger is achieved when a new product line from one company is added to an existing product line of the other company. So when two companies become one under the product extension, they are able to gain the access to the large group of consumers and larger market share. Okay, the third one, market extensions. So which means this is the type of merger occurs between companies that sells the same products but compete in different markets. So this is the companies that engage in a market extension merger seek to gain access to the bigger market and thus bigger client base. So to extend their markets, Eagle and RBC so merged in 2002. Next one is horizontal. So horizontal mergers occurs with the two business in the same industry. They combine into two. So this type of combination can cause antitrust issues because two of them also works in a same position and in a same company. So it will be clash. Okay. For instance, a general manager and a Ford may not be allowed to merge the because of antitrust laws. So the horizontal merger occurs between the companies operating in the same industry. So the merger is typically part of the consolidation between two or more competitors offering the same products or services. And the next one is vertical. So vertical mergers occurs when two business in the same value chain of a supply chain merger. Okay, because mergers are the way to companies to expand their reach, expand into a new segments and gain market shares. So this merger is a voluntary fusion of two companies and broadly equal terms into one new legal entity. So the five major types of mergers are conglomerate, concentric, market extension, horizontal, vertical. We already seen this. Okay, the next one is acquisition diversification. So which is acquisition means a strategy in achieving the diversification through the acquisition. Okay, the firms purchase other firms in order to lessen their risk or promote growth. So the purchase may be related to the business supplier or unrelated business with a high potential for a growth. In this, the common reason for a merger and acquisition means the common reasons are follows. The first one is maximizing profit. So the majority of mergers acquisition have one goal, to increase the profit. Many a merger has been initiated with the goal of the gaining financial by strengthening the dominant company's performance. Okay. The next one, diversification and risk reduction. So which means when a company wishes to diversify its products, the investments, it may turn to a merger to satisfy their needs. So diversification is also a good way to minimize the risk for companies that have a lot of businesses only one industry. So this is acquiring and merging with another business for the sake of diversification is an excellent risk reduction strategy. Third one, improving financing. So which means by improving financing is an excellent reason for the merger. By merging with a larger business firm, a smaller companies may have the access to more sources of financing. So additionally, a company that is on the brink bankrupt may also seek the another company to acquire it or provide better financing. Next one, going intentional. So which means a merging or a foreign company is an excellent way to enter foreign market. So it is also a strategy that is commonly used for the risk reduction. So by entering the market of another country, a company can reduce its foreign exchange risk, lower the threat posed by local recessions. And the next one is acquisition strategy. So which means we already seen the acquisition diversification. This is acquisition strategies, okay, which involves the finding methodology for the acquisition of a target companies. So that generates value of acquire, and use of the acquisition strategy can keep the management team for a buying businesses for which there is a no clear path to achieving the profitable income. The next one, common reasons for a mergers or acquisition. So what are the reasons? Okay. So in this, we already seen the acquisition strategy, and under this, value proportions. So what are the value proportions? The first one, adjacent industry. So the acquirer may see an opportunity to use one of its competitive strengths to buy an adjacent industry. So this approach may work if the competitive strengths give the company a major advantage in the adjacent industry. The next one is diversification strategy. So mainly this diversification strategy, a company may elect the diversify away from its core business in order to offset the risk inherent in its own industry. So these risks usually translate high variable cash flow, which can make it difficult to remain in a business. So when about a negative cash flows happen to coincide with a period of a tight credit where loans are difficult to obtain. For example, business environment may fluctuate strongly with changes in the overall economy. So, as a company buys into a business having more stable sales. And the next one is full service strategy. So, which acquirer may have a relatively limited line of the product and services and wants a reposition itself to be a full service provider. And next one is geographic growth strategy. So which means a business may have gradually built up an excellent business within a certain geographic area and wants to roll up its concepts into a new region. So this can be real problem. If the company's product line requires local support in the form of a regional warehouses, means the field service operations or a local sales representative, such product lines can take a long time to roll out. Next one is industry roll-up strategy. So which means companies attempt an industry roll-up strategy where they buy a number of smaller businesses with a small markets. So share to achieve a consolidated business with a significant market share. So while attracting the theory, this is not the easy strategy to pursue. Next one, low cost strategy. So low cost means there is one company that has rapidly built market share through the unwavering pursuit of the low cost. Means this approach involves offering a baseline or a mid-range product so that sells in a large volume, and for the company can use best production practices to drive down. So next one is market window strategy. So the company may see a window of opportunity opening up in the market for a particular products or services. So it may evaluate its own ability to launch a product within a time during which the window will be open. So and conclude that it is not capable of doing so. So if so, its best option is to acquire another company. So that is already positioned to take advantage of the window. So with the correct products and distribution channels facilities. Okay. The next one is product supplement strategy. So by this, the supplements, the acquirer may want supplements to product line with the similar products to another company. So this is particularly useful when there is a whole of acquirer product line that it can immediately fill by making an acquisitions. The next one is sales growth strategy. So which means one of the most likely reasons why the business acquires is to achieve the greater growth than it could manufacture through internal growth. So which is known as organic growth. So it is difficult for a business to grow at a more than modest pace. through organic growth. So because it must overcome the variety of obstacles such as hiring the right people, so entering new markets, opening new distribution channels, and so forth. So conversely, it can massively accelerate its rate of growth with an acquisitions. The next one is synergy strategy. So it is one of the most successful acquisition is to examine other business to see if there are costs that can be stripped out or a revenue advantage to be gained by combining companies. So ideally the result should be greater profitability than the two companies would normally have achieved if they have continued to operate as separate entities. So this strategy is usually focused on a similar business in the same market where the acquirer has a considerable knowledge of how businesses are operated. And finally, vertical integration strategy. In this, a company may want to have a complete control over every aspect of its supply chain. So, all the way through to sales to final customers. So, this control may involve buying a key supplies of those components that the company needs of its products. So, as well as the distributors of the products and retail locations in which they are sold. Next, we're going to see is integration strategy, and this first one, vertical integration strategy. So vertical strategy combines backward and forward integration, means the types, okay, backward and forward. So in this mainly it means a vertical integration strategy involves extending the present business of a firm two possible directions. So advantages, disadvantages in this vertical, it is a companies involve themselves in a vertical integration basically for gaining a competitive position in the market. So this vertical integration becomes attractive when it can strengthen a company's competitive positions. So either profit wise or strategy wise. So vertical integration is likely to be a flop if it fails to produce sufficient cost savings or substantially improve the company's technological competitive strengths. So let us discuss the strategic advantages. And for disadvantages, it increases the business risk because of the diversification and more investment in other stages. So these business activities, it may block scarce financial resources in some value chain activities of the industry. So which prevents the firm from investing in otherwise profitable ventures. So next, the two types of vertical integration is in backward integration, forward integration. So what is a backward? It moves an organization into supplying some of all of the products used in producing present products. So it can achieve greater competitiveness by generating cost savings. So this is possible if the volume of a production can result in the economics of scale better than the suppliers. So which can improve a company's technological capabilities. So it can produce a differentiation based competitive advantage. And competitive advantage may also be gained if vertical integration improves the quality of the customer service and enhance the performance of final products. So it can add to a company's differentiating capabilities by creating core competencies. So which reduces the dependence of a company on suppliers or a crucial raw materials. The second one is forward integration. So which means it moves the organization into a distributing its products. So it is a vertical integration popularly known as a vertical linkage. By this it is a forward linkage. This situation suitable for forward integration. So this is a integration in a firm occurs when a firm gains ownership in the distribution of its products. So company may integrate forward into wholesaling, retailing via company owned distributors, own deal networks, chain, retail stores, this all. So by this the forward integration of the firm may be suitable when the firm present distributor are specially expensive and unreliable. So the availability of quality distributors limited, the firm has a required resources to manage the distribution function and the firm intends to maintain stability in production and demand. So based on this the advantages of forward I already said. And next one finally is horizontal integration. So horizontal integration may be known as which produces similar products usually buying another organization in the same business. So which means horizontal integration. The next we're gonna see is divestment strategy. Okay. Excuse me. Based on this, the divestment. Okay. What is divestment? It is the opposite of investment. So where the firm sells the portion of the business to realize cash or a pay off its debt. So also the firm follows the divestment strategy to shut down its profitable division and allocate its resources to a more profitable one. An organization adopts the divestment strategy only when the turnaround strategy proved to be unsatisfactory. Okay. So by this, the definition means it is another form of retrenchment. Retrenchment we already seen, okay? So that include downsizing the scope of a business. So the firm is said to have to be followed the divestment strategy. When it sells and liquidates a portion of a business or one or more strategic business units means the major diversion means with the objective of revive its final positions. The next means indicators. What are the indicators we are facing in this divestment strategy? So these are the first one, continuous negative cash flows from a particular division, unable to meet the competition, huge divisional losses, difficulty in integrating business within the company, better alternatives investment, lack of integration between divisions, lack of technological upgradation due to non-affordability, market share is too small, legal pressures. So these are the indicators in the divestment strategy. So next one we're going to see problems and reasons. So what are the problems they are facing? So when a business expands too quickly but cannot control the cost means when the company has a cost problem. So to increase the stability of a business, to get a fund quickly to utilize the expansion and improving existing business. The company need more fund to invest more profitable operations. So the business facing the economic recessions. The company need to focus on core operations, have a better alternative way to invest, and continuous loss for no reasons. Turnaround strategy not unsatisfactory. So these are the problems and reasons. The next, how the these already told how the divestment strategy works. So the first one is review of portfolio. So first of all business needs the review. Because of the review only we can get the consumers more. So but the portfolio to analyzing performance of each business operation units. The second one is identify exercise. So after the business needs to decide which part of the business needs to stop investment or reduce the investments. Then third one, de-integration. Once the business know how to divestment, the business needs to prepare de-integration plan for such as a allocation. Next we're gonna see we move on to contemporary strategy. So contemporary strategy means it is the pursuit of a position of advantage, but what this means in a practice is changing, okay, changing strategy. So how people are thinking about the future and possibilities to hold. So the types of organization we can imagine to put into practice, how the technologies that underlie our actions are designed, built and used. So all of these are shifting. So we need an understanding of strategy. This is up to date. So with this changing ideas, so part of this may come from traditional roots. So places where strategy is constantly being considered, such as a deep in hearts of governments and corporations. Okay. Next one. So materials of contemporary strategy. So by this we have developed a point of view of strategies that sees them in the design objects. The first material is presence. Presence means how a strategy communicated to people. So how it is described in a language, in a diagram and displayed on a screen and so on. So more deeply considering the presence of the strategy involves designing ways to access it over time. So who knows about the strategy, how, when, and when how the effectiveness of the strategy is based on its exposure to different potential audiences at a given time. And the next one is structure. And the strategies are designed to unfold over time and across space. So the structure strategy links the course of action to unexpected outcome. So it brings aims and goals together with the means of reach times. Third one is leverage. So leverage means it is a procures of the use of the resources within the environment. So this can mean, for example, how an organization understands its internal capabilities, putting to up the things its own, developing new ones, and it can also mean how a strategy related external affordance by leveraging processes. Okay. Next we're gonna see platform design. So this is the idea of a platform has become a steadily more popular. So given a sky high profile of a business like Google, Facebook that put platform at the center of their technological, operational, financial models. So at the core platform design is the creation and a set of elements that can support a given activity. Okay. So across our projects, we have had the concentrate on finding effective ways to design and communicate these systems and the stories. The next one is overachieving organization. Overachieving means to those have consistently exceeding expectations. So what they should be able to do. So this may be cause of because they have found a way of flourishing in an overwhelming hostling environment. So of course this position may involve a large measure of luck. So but this is not entirely true of organizations able to keep going. So because they have found new ways to learn from their environment, which convert into the actions. And next one, strategy and space. So the recurrent theme in our projects has been think about the space strategic resources. When considering strategy, it is a natural habit to think more about the time. So by this, the digital technology is beginning to shape not just how people using existing space from workplace to streets. So but how they are designed in the first place. It yet works at a scales so different from the architectural planning cycles. So which are comparatively as low heavy as local, that is becoming more and more important to develop a new ideas about how strategy and space related to each other. And finally, the culture strategy. So culture strategy, mainly known as lastly the perhaps unsurprisingly given rival missions. So we have become more and more aware that the people think about the strategy tends to be very limited by the context that they are in. So there is a surprisingly little communication even between the areas where a practice strategy is something often discussed. A transfer of thinking between a business, military, political strategy. Okay. And next we move on to neo-generic strategy. So what it means facilitating change in leaders and their teams is a powerful opportunity to realize untapped personal collective potential. So a non-earth object, okay, it is a non-earth object, neo earth, NEO. Okay, so this is the term positively influence effectiveness of the organization can the broader transformation. However, it may be difficult to pinpoint the changes that provide greater benefits and how to get from here to there. So in addition, that provide greatest benefits. Under this we're going to see the first one, leadership development. So it is designed the leadership development program that are tailored to the specific needs of our organization. So by assessment, training, facilitation and individuals team coaching are the ways to way for company leaders to identify the goals most relevant in the individual organization success. So in this neo-generic works with your organization to identify organizational vision and direction and goals for the leadership development and a customized portfolio service specifically designed to enable your leadership development objectives. Next one is leadership assessments. So it is the useful assessment including leadership circle profile 360 and culture survey for a team and emotional intelligence assessment, and finally step 1 step 2 instruments. Then third one is executive coaching. So it is a coaching supports like claims in creating an awareness, understanding current plans and in adapting new habits, actions and move clients towards their development goals. This neo strategic uses its proportionally evolved model for both individual and a team coaching. Okay. And the next one is training and facilitation. So it is the flagship seminars and workshops on a mindful leaderships. So women leaders in a STEM, emotional intelligence, effective communication, community-based topics and programs also available. So in this strategic also offers a facilitation services for meetings, planning sessions. So this is constantly receives excellent reviews for a program contents and quality of facilitation. Some comments on a recent classes. Okay. Then next one is speaking engagement. Speaking means it is experienced, dynamic, engaging speaker who has tough at the gratitude level and given invited talks at international conferences. So please contact us if you would like to book my means this session was like this a comments. Okay, whatever they wish to started the training speaking engagement. After that we will give the review thing, right? So in this review only speaking engagement. So for example, uh, they are asking for excellent energy level, engaging with the audience, and easy follow up, stay on task, excellent task, energy, good energy, like that, same like that they will give that. Okay, next one, neo crypto cryptocurrency strategy. So in this today we will review a simple scalping strategy for trading Neocoin. Okay, the Neo cryptocurrency strategy help to accumulate small profits that can add in the long run. So in our team, trading strategy guides is working hard to put together the most comprehensive PDF. Okay, so we recommend only using Neo trading strategy. So moving forward, we are going to explain what is cryptocurrency. So at the last but not least, we will share the key trading rules. Okay. So what is cryptocurrency new? It is the first centralized open source cryptocurrency launched in 2014. Okay. So at the writing of Neo, the market cap is the new blockchain. So it is a platform focuses on areas such as digital asset transfer, smart contracts, and digital identity verification. So this is the crypto by the systems. Okay. Next one, neo trading strategy. So when scalping with a neo trading strategy, you need to have a discipline and focus. Scalping can be very rewarding. So but you need to follow some quantifiable trading rules to keep you on the right track. So the advantage of the scalp trading cryptocurrencies like a Bitcoin is one, less exposure to the risk of. Second, it provides more trading opportunities. So as with our scalping strategies, we are going to give you the trading rules by walking through an actual live trade examples. By this class is over. We'll meet you all in the next class. Take care. Thank you.